Michael Shear, you've been writing about, quote, how Trump uses vitriol from migrants to sideline other issues. And these people are not migrants. These are legal immigrants, by the way. Not that it would be, accurate about migrants either. But how does it explain why Donald Trump is boosting this claim to the point of bringing Laura Loomer, who originated it, on his plane to the debate and then the next day to the 9/11 commemorations?
Yeah, I think what really struck me about the debate, both the cat thing, but also just the other descriptions that that Trump seized on about migrants, is the way in which if it was even possible, is becoming even more extreme on the issue of immigration, which of course was at the center of his 2016 campaign and his 2020 attempt to return to the White House. He's always warned about dangerous migrants coming to the U.S. Recall the caravans that he often warned about during the last years of his time in the White House. But now it's not that he's warned that they're coming. Now he's talking about cities already being overrun, migrants, doing terrible things, raping kids and murdering people. And 99% of it is rooted in just falsehood. I mean, there's obviously always little kernels of truth in any community. There are bad actors. But to your point about Springfield, Ohio, I mean, the people who are there, the officials there, say that by and large this community is actually helping to save a community that was deeply in economic distress, found a way to get out of that, and now need people to actually need workers to actually hold the jobs that they've now recovered. And so, Trump is trying to, amplify this issue. He thinks it works for his base. And, the country has shifted a little bit. Democratic cities over the past couple of years reacted with some frustration where big influxes of immigrants came into their cities as well. Remember, the mayor of New York said that immigration was going to destroy New York City. And so, I think in the wake of that, Donald Trump feels like he has to get even more aggressive and even more extreme. And that's what's happened.
Of course, immigration made New York City from the 1800s on. Susan, that line from Trump is maybe the most memorable from the debate. Is that working for him? Is that why he's doing it?
Well, I thought you were going to say, Andrea, the most memorable line from the debate is, Donald Trump saying they're eating dogs, they're eating cats, which is...
Well, that's what I meant. That line.
Exactly. And, I mean, in the history of presidential debates, right, it's hard to think that this one isn't going to go down as the most astonishing thing to have heard from the former president. I mean, it makes gaffes of previous debates seem quaint. Frankly, it's not a surprise that in just the last couple of days, it's become a meme. It's become a part of the culture. It seems to encapsulate not only Donald Trump's willingness to spread crazy lies about immigrants, but also his, unhinged quality. And in both senses, it actually performed a strategic purpose for Kamala Harris in that debate, which was to distract from the very real power of that immigration issue for Donald Trump. He believes that demagoguing on immigration is what made him president in 2016, and that it's what's going to bring him back to the White House in 2024. And I'm struck by the fact that because Trump seemed to go off on this sort of, tangent as produced by, a right-wing producer's fever dreams, that it actually undercut an important issue that Trump has against Harris in the campaign. And so it's not a surprise that you're going to hear Democrats and other people making the most of it, spreading these, videos on TikTok and elsewhere of people's dogs listening in horror to the debate. And, I just think it really undercut Trump's campaign.